Alright guys, starting with the second exit ticket of this week. Still the same standard, understanding in a complex experimental design. So complex experimental design. The reason that it's complex is because it works with 2 experiments or more. So the experiment, the scientists most likely kept temperature in degrees and salt concentration in milligrams per liter in both experiment 1 or both experiment 1 and experiment 2. If it's happening across 2 experiments, then it's asking you about a control. And we use the controls for comparison. So the average hatching rate could not be easily compared. No. The average rate could be easily compared. Yep. Let's just check our other 2 answers. The scientists could study the effects of brine shrimp on units of measurement. Nope, that's not our independent variable. And we didn't change the unit, so we can't talk about those as variables. So the answer is B. Notice how this is exactly the same as your exit ticket from the day before. All right, in experiments 1 and 2, the researchers used a range of temperatures and saltwater concentration to ensure that the brine shrimp would hatch, maybe. Study the effect of temperature and saltwater concentration on brine shrimp viability. If you don't know what that means how well they can survive. Oh, different question. I should be using a different color so that you guys can see. So, this is how well they can survive. Study the effect of brine shrimp viability on temperature and saltwater concentration. So what was the independent variable and what was the dependent variable in these experiments? This is dependent because it's all the way to the right on the table. So the further right you go on the ACT, independent, independent, dependent, dependent. So we know that this should be written second, the effect of blank on the dependent variable. So brine shrimp viability, so the hatching rate, it's going to be B. A is okay. D, we didn't talk about freshwater at all. No words here. And remember, B and C, almost identical, so it's going to be between those 2. So there were 3 different parts of strategy here. All right. Salt concentration, or according to the passage, which of the following is true about the design of experiment 2? So we're only looking at experiment 2. So what did they do? Repeated experiment 1. This is the same, so this is now a control. This is your independent variable. This is your dependent variable. All right. Salt concentration was controlled to study the effect of temperature. Yeah, they did that. Temperature was studied, it was controlled. Nope, that's not the same. Bottles 1 and 2 had no salt. No. Nope, they were all the same, so my answer is A. All right, moving on. The variables directly manipulated, that means we're looking for an independent variable. Now, a lot of people asked me during the test, they were like, this question is exactly the same because A and B are exactly the same. Well, now we know we can cross off C and D because these are almost the same, but order matters on the ACT. So if it's asking you in experiment 1 and 2, it's asking for experiment 1 and then experiment 2. Sometimes you will see the word respectively, which tells you it's in order, but a lot of times you won't. You just have to assume that that order matters always, always, always. So, experiment 1, control, independent variable, dependent variable. And then, so our independent variable is salt concentration, and then it's temperature. So our answer is B, salt concentration, and then temperature. All right, which of the following best describes the purposes of experiment 1 and 2? So, experiment 1, we wanted to see the effect of this. So the time to hatching is going to be the second thing. It's going to be after the on in both of these answer choices. The first one, it's going to be salt concentration on. The second one is going to be temperature on, time to hatch. So, hatching on salt concentration, nope. Study the effect of hatching on temperature, nope, because those are in the wrong order. Alright, experiment 1 studied the effect of salt concentration on hatching. And experiment 2 studied the effect of temperature on hatching. Experiment 1 studied the effect of temperature on hatching. Let's see. This one is salt concentration and then temperature. So we need salt concentration and then temperature. So the answer to 5 is C.